Okay, I'm probably a bit late to this one. The Find X10 series is probably just around the corner, but this is the Oppo Find X9 Pro. It got pretty amazing reviews when it first came out, especially for its camera. But now, 10 months on, I kind of still think this might be the best and most balanced Android phone all round. If you're new around here, hi, I'm Carl. I'm not some trendy tech YouTuber. I'm a very busy dad of young kids with a full-time job. I love tech, but I'm not that interested in the numbers or the tech specs. I'm interested in how it would actually slot into your life and the features you're gonna actually use day to day. Now, a big part of why I say that is, of course, the price. It's an expensive phone, of course it is. It's not quite their absolute flagship, as they've got an ultra version that costs a lot more. But this is definitely a flagship level phone. But right now, here in the UK, you can still get it for £899, while something like the Samsung S26 Ultra is £1,279. Or £1,449 for the 512GB version, which would actually match this better. And for that, you get top of the industry camera performance, top of the industry battery life, very fast and snappy performance, lots of storage, one of the best operating systems on Android. You know, at £899, this is a very compelling phone. Okay, let's go over the physical design. It's smart, minimal and clean, but somehow that's one of my least favorite areas of the phone. And I'm not quite sure why, to be honest. Minimal and clean is normally exactly what I look for. I think it's this white finish that feels perhaps a bit too basic, and the finish on the Oppo logo itself is a bit strange. It's very subtle, and when the light hits it, it has this kind of blurred reflective finish to it, but it also has a texture which you can feel when you're using the phone. It's a bit odd, almost like the back of your phone feels dirty, if that makes sense. But let's be honest though, this is me desperately looking for something bad to say about the phone. It's just kind of a non-issue. Firstly, who really cares? It's so minimal. And secondly, you're probably putting a case on it anyway, so you're never even going to notice it at all. But what you will notice is the OLED screen. It's big and bright with minimal bezels around the edge, and the colors look fantastic. HDR plays back wonderfully, and it's fully supported in Netflix. It's everything you want in a phone screen. Around the edge are the usual buttons and two extra ones. One on the other side to the volume and power buttons, which they call the snap key. And this is the same as on the OnePlus 15. You can choose from a few options for what it does. There's quick access to their mind space. There's mute, do not disturb, camera, torch, voice note, translate, screenshot, and just turning it off. And then on the other side is a touch haptic button, a bit like Apple's camera control button. Strangely, this is called a quick button in the menus, and the settings for it are in a completely different part of those menus under accessibility and convenience. You would have thought they would put them together, the snap key and the quick button. But this one can just do camera control. It has quite a few settings to fine-tune things, but the defaults work well, which is a double press to open the camera up, single press to take a photo, and slide across it to zoom. And the one thing I really like with that is that if you just quickly flick it, it just jumps between the whole actual cameras rather than ending up in between on a strange like 2.7 times zoom, for example. And talking of the cameras, everyone always seems to agree that they're the biggest strength of this phone, and I completely agree. They are awesome. Everything that you want your phone camera to be. Their color processing is so natural but still vibrant. Exposure is nearly always spot on. Skin tones look fantastic. The image processing is some of the best I've ever seen on a phone. One thing I've been experimenting with is changing between regular photo mode and master mode. Not to do manual exposure necessarily, but for the different color processing. Images look a little bit more like a professional camera, to be honest, a little bit less brightly exposed, a little bit less vibrant. Take this awful photo of my morning coffee, for example. I know, I'm so talented as a photographer, but although it's a dreadful photo, it does really show this quite well. Both photos look great, but the regular photo mode is much brighter and full of life, while the master mode is classy and perhaps more correct. I really like both, and I can see situations where I would choose both of them. There are 3 cameras and they're all very good, very detailed, and you don't notice a quality drop as you move between them, which is the all important thing. And the telephoto lens is great. You can really zoom in a very long way. And I really appreciate that it tells you very clearly when the AI enhanced zoom has been turned on. Quite a few phones don't, and so you don't really realize until you're looking at your photos and wonder why text or that fine detail there is gone all garbled and mushed, for example. I know they have an ultra version which sits above this, and there are others as well out there like Vivo, Xiaomi. They all have these ultra phones which are meant to have absolutely incredible cameras, but I haven't tried any of those, and they're all much more expensive than this is. This is at a much more realistic price point for most people. And the cameras are so impressive. Easily the best I've ever used on a phone myself so far. The battery life has been incredible. I easily get 2 days, sometimes even 3 out of it. I borrowed this from the amazing Ben over at Lover of Tech, who does these incredibly useful real world battery drain tests. And he says the OnePlus 15 was slightly better, but I don't really remember it being as good as this, to be honest. It's a bit anecdotal, but either way, it doesn't really matter. Both are incredible, and it will be so much better than what most people are used to with their current phones. You know, if your current phone is struggling to last to the end of the day, or you need to take battery packs out with you when you go out into the evening for peace of mind, this is going to be such a difference for you. It really is. Okay, let's talk about the software, Color OS. Now, with Oppo and OnePlus being the same parent company, I think most people out there know that they are basically the same thing, which is good because Oxygen OS has actually been my favorite of the Android operating systems I've tried so far. But this is my first time using Color OS. And sure enough, everything I like about Oxygen OS is absolutely here, like the smart sidebar where you can open a small floating version up of your apps on top of what you're doing and just swipe them away really easily and juggle between things. It's great for notes or for listening to music in the background, for example. But it also has some new things which I haven't seen before, like the content portal, where you can drag something to the bottom of the screen and get a menu of quick actions for it. Or probably my favorite feature, Quick Launch, where you can carry on holding down once you've used the fingerprint reader to unlock the phone, and it brings up to 5 apps of your choosing to quickly go to. I love this. I kind of wish it had more control though. I'd love to be able to tweak how long it takes to appear, for example. Plus, having Face Unlock really seems to interfere with it. I'd love to be able to keep it working when Face Unlock has unlocked the phone instead. So maybe you keep holding down in the same place, muscle memory would take over, and it doesn't matter whether it's the fingerprint reader or your face that unlocks the phone, the same quick launch menu would appear. That would be awesome, but right now they seem to conflict a little bit. Overall though, I am so impressed with Color OS. Honestly, I am struggling to think of anything negative to say about this phone. I guess the design, it does feel nitpicky, but there's definitely other physical designs out there on the market which I prefer. But everything else, you know, it's the best cameras I've ever used on a phone. It's one of my favorite operating systems now for Android. One of the longest lasting batteries I've ever seen. The screen is fantastic. I mean, it's pretty good. And it's 10 months old now. Oppo are probably about to replace it. So I'm pretty excited to see what they do next. Anyway, enough just gushing over the phone. It's time to get back to the real world. Time to tidy some of those toys up for the kids. The never-ending job. Thank you very much for watching.